very important transmission came forth yesterday in the planetary class. You received a transmission from the Mighty Polaris. He is the great king or God being of the Polaris Sun, known more commonly perhaps to you as the North Star. That is part of the little Dipper. And it is the North Star that this particular star is a magnetic sun. Now, I'm going to repeat a little bit of this, and then we're going to do the exercise, because I am aware that not everyone subscribes to the planetary class. It is always up to you which classes you wish to subscribe to. And of course, it is my class, the Tree of Life class, and a son's class, the Living the Dream class, that has the most subscriptions. And what was explained yesterday was the planetary class. So those who don't subscribe to the planetary class are going to miss this very critical transmission that came forth yesterday. And because this transmission is so critical, for those who have already heard it, it will be good for you to hear the main parts of it again, and then again on Wednesday, so that way I am assured that the larger student body, as they receive their recordings of the class subscriptions, that everyone hears the good news. Now I will seek to simplify the message that was given. Now, the Mighty Polaris of the Polaris Sun, that is the magnetic star that ensures that every planet and its magnetic pole, and of course the Polaris Sun serves the galaxy, of which your solar system is only one of thousands. And all planets all have a magnetic pole. The magnetic pole of your planet Earth has been disturbed. It has been disturbed by the footprint of human discord and destruction upon this planet. It has been disturbed by weapons of war, the use of 2 atomic weapons to end World War II, and the continued destruction that is sown by certain peoples upon the earth. Your scientists, with great concern, are studying the movement of the magnetic pole, which is bringing some disturbance to the actual rotation of your planet as it orbits around your physical sun. This disturbance has created a situation where the magnetic currents that come from the magnetic sun, the Polaris Sun, are no longer able to evenly flow into the magnetic pole and then into the Earth. The magnetic current is still coming. However, the flow is fragmented. It is rather a stop-and-go situation. The magnetic current that enters the magnetic pole of every planet is there to stabilize every planet, to ensure that a planet is not only stable, the inner core, the structure of the planet, also that the planet has the means to give every intelligent life stream that divine magnetism, which is intended to come up in the physical body and be anchored and stored in the spine of the physical body. Today, greater numbers of people are living in physical garments that are so unstable. The instability that is caused by the lack of magnetic current in the physical body has opened the door wide to the disease that has come forth in a way that has never been seen on this planet before. as has been emphasized, your physical bodies has a direct relationship to the composition of the physical earth and are intended to be in divine harmony with each other. From 1963 to 1971, through the work of the great Master Saint Germain and the last years of his messenger, beloved Lotus Ray King, working directly with the great god Polaris, much work was achieved in bringing some restoration to the magnetic pole of the earth, and enough work to place a band-aid fix on the situation. Now the opportunity has come. There are growing numbers of people on the earth who are now awake, turning to spiritual paths, and opening their lives to the family that lives in the upper dimensions of your own planet. That family is made up of angels, ascended masters, and great cosmic beings. Now that there are several million, and I know several million is not a lot when you consider that there are 10 billion of you that came to this earth 15 million years ago. 7 billion of you are incarnated upon the planet. 3 billion of you, almost, remains in the planes of bliss, waiting for another opportunity to re-embody upon the planet. Of course, as you know, reincarnation ends when once again you are given a life, you are given a body, you as a being of consciousness, as spirit, as soul essence. When you are given a physical body, you are given another opportunity. While the people of earth argue, believe, or disbelieve in reincarnation, the people's opinions does not change the truth. And the truth is that every human being will continue to come back to this planet until they get it right. And getting it right means, because of the history, because the people have fallen asleep, no longer remember who they are, where they come from, what is their destiny, what is their higher purpose. Because of this, we have this continuous wheel of reincarnation. Of course, over the centuries, there has always been a few. Every 100 years, 2, 3, 4, or 5 people who leave their homes, go on a soul journey, a quest seeking truth. Something within them is stirring. And for ages past, that stirring often became a quest for enlightenment. This included taking journeys either towards South America or journeys over to India to meet some Baba, some Guru, some Swami, who perhaps could give those ones who were seeking some guidance. Those who were proven the most sincere were then given secret passage from India up through Nepal, Tibet, and finally into the great Himalayas, where, unknown to the people of earth, is the most ancient Ascended Master mystery school. Those individuals who arrive there come under the direct teaching of the Ascended Masters, who begin to teach them the Tree of Life. The purpose of receiving the Tree of Life teachings is to dismantle the tree of knowledge of good and evil that has created an infection of duality consciousness in the lives of everyone on earth. Those ones, once studying, go through a resurrection process where they are lifted and raised up and out of the duality consciousness, and then begin a course of study, studying the natural laws of the universe, that eventually brings about a higher consciousness. One discovers in these teachings that they have lived only a fraction of their true self. One also discovers that their true self is a whole individualization or replication of the divine source of this universe, Heavenly Mother, Father, God. And then begin a course of study to make contact with this true spiritual self that fortunately has always remained a part of every human being, but hidden from their daily consciousness. Now we get close to studying spirituality, to turning within, to having teachers show you the way and how to connect to the great God presence that abides within you. This is our course of study in my weekly Wednesday class, and I thank you for taking that course that ultimately brings forth your full awakening, and as such brings about your resurrection up and out of the duality consciousness in this world, and brings you in contact with your own individualized God presence that we refer to as the grand cosmic being that in truth you have always been, yet that majority aspect of you has remained hidden within your inner consciousness. All effort now is being made, and the relationships you are establishing with the angelic host, the ascended host, to help you make contact with your grand cosmic self, and to receive the spiritual resources from on high to complete this journey. Today, as I stated, there are not tens of millions, but there are millions who have secured a path of spiritual studies for themselves. There are many paths in this world. It is up to each person to choose their own spiritual path, which ultimately may give them the freedom from the discord and duality of this world, and set them upon a path, set themselves upon the path. Will never again will they have to come back to the earth and live a life of limitation. So that is the circle that I come back to. That place. And today, we have more people in the world who are on schedule to rise up and out of the limited consciousness, make contact with their true God nature, and bring that forth in glorious expression upon the earth. The goal is to become God on earth. And of course, to do so, you have had to free yourself of all religious beliefs, all those who would suggest that what I have just stated is heresy. Yet it is the truth. Each of you are a sovereign being. Each of you are the only begotten, waiting to be realized and come forth into expression. Today we have a few million people on the earth that when they complete their lives, they will not return to the plains of bliss. where the vast majority of people go when death has come to the physical body. And there they rest and wait for another opportunity to reincarnate. This has been the most tragic situation upon the earth, this endless wheel of reincarnation and coming back into the same limited consciousness. And even though given another life, another body to try again, the history is failure after failure after failure. We are only in the opening years since 2012 of a new 10,000-year cycle, the seventh golden age. And already since 2012, we have a couple million people in various spiritual paths on the world who will end the reincarnation process. They will, in their lives on earth, resurrect, be part of a tremendous service for the raising of all life upon this planet, and that includes all the kingdoms that have suffered the human footprint, especially the animal kingdom, the sea kingdom, the bird kingdom, the insect kingdom. All these kingdoms must be saved. And only an individual who has been raised themselves into the true glorious consciousness and presence and power of of their own divinity will have the power to do so. But staying on track, my point is this. Not since the fall from grace that happened over 12 million years ago have there ever been this many people on the earth in which this will be their last lifetime on the earth. From this life, the freedom that they gain, the service that they will provide, will either then take them to the great realm of light known as Shambhala, where they will then finish their studies and take their ascension. Others, once resurrected and free, providing great service, these ones are known as the Untouchables. These are the ones that Jesus prophesied who would come after him. These are the ones that will perform greater works than he himself did. Now, with all of this in place, it is because of this reason. Never before have you had so many human beings turning towards the light, seeking higher understanding. And often it just begins as a prompting, an inner desire, a recognition. There must be something more than what's taking place day in and day out in this world. You have a generation, you have 2 generations behind you, depending upon your age in your physical body. You have 2 or 3 generations behind you of young people. And the youngest people that I am presently referring to are those who are teenagers. And they are showing so much promise that they will awaken so quickly. They will get it. They will grasp it. And they will fulfill their divinity quickly and become the divine replications of Mother, Father, God that they were always intended to be. Because of all of this, the opportunity is now to step into rigorous action and stabilize the planet as quickly as possible. The means to finally heal and restore the magnetic pole of your planet is now available. The Mighty Polaris from the North Star, the Polaris sun, the magnetic sun, spoke to you yesterday. Everything is in place. Gods of the elements, some of the angelic host, some of the ascended host, some great cosmic beings that work with the magnetic core of our universe, are all ready to work with the Mighty Polaris. May each of you from this day, may each of you take a moment in your life and even silently recognize this being. On a clear night, you can look up at the Little Dipper and the North Star. And if you would just silently say, Mighty Polaris, God bless you. Yes, come with your legions and restore the magnetic pole of planet Earth now. Use all the powers of the Godhead and come and finish the restoration of the magnetic pole of planet Earth, so that once again the great magnetic currents from the Polaris sun are flowing in to the magnetic pole without disruption. And once again, our beloved planet Earth is receiving the great magnetic current. A magnetic current that is intended to stabilize every planet, strengthen every planet. And may you know, precious hearts, you have studied, you know something of magnetism. You also know you have Metaphysics 101 behind you. You also know that magnetism is part of your being. And the simple law saith that whatever you place your attention upon, the very magnetism of your feeling side of life will draw what you place your attention upon to you. And that truth invites you, when you're aware of it, to be a little bit more careful on what you are placing your attention upon. Now, of course, as each of you seek to live the good life, a life which asks you to abandon the human principles of judgment. This is the first great step in setting yourself free. Your willingness to stop judging yourself and to stop judging others. And realize, precious hearts, just because you stop judging others does not mean that others are not held accountable. There is a huge difference in the vibration of the two following things, and I hope you get this right inside yourself. It is a completely different vibration to say to yourself, I have done something wrong. Because of the history of what's in this world, that is a very heavy, very debilitating vibration. It is much healthier to say, to be honest, if necessary, I made a mistake. Because you know well enough that mistakes can be corrected. You also know that in this duality third dimension, it's almost impossible because you've lost contact with perfection. It's almost impossible not to make mistakes. But where you are in the journey now is not a good time to burden yourself with a statement that has such deep psychological impact upon you. Let's take a deep breath. And let's affirm inwardly. If I am carrying any vibration of the feeling that I have done something wrong. I forgive myself for feeling that way. I forgive myself for accepting that suggestion that others might have placed upon me. That is a very heavy vibration. And I surrender. I breathe that vibration up and out. It's not true. I didn't do anything wrong. Yes, I may have made mistakes, and when I become aware of them, I will do my best to correct them. But a truth every particle of my being wants to hear. I did not do anything wrong. And I'm willing to release that vibration so easily, gracefully. When life seeks to point out a mistake that I made, then I can take steps to correct those mistakes. And so it is, and so be it. And so, beloved hearts, you are invited to do two things, as the Mighty Polaris taught you yesterday. Call to him, beloved Mighty Polaris. Come with your legions, and now complete the restoration of the magnetic pole of planet Earth, and see to it that once again there is an uninterrupted flow of the magnetic current from the great sun Polaris that provides the divine magnetism to all planetary systems, that holds balance, stability, and strength within all those planets. Thank you for this tremendous service. Next is a 90-minute exercise. 90. Oh, you are wise to catch me on that. Yes, you do have a day to go on about, yes? 90-second exercise. First is to understand every planet has a designated number of sentient beings who come to visit, live, embody on that planet that they have chosen. Your planet received 10 billion. There are 10 billion of you. You did not come from another planet. You came directly from the center of the universe known as the Great Central Sun. You came as beings of consciousness, and you took on physical bodies. Now, so there is the record of you, 10 billion. Not all of you are presently on the earth. We've explained that. But here is the situation. Your relationship with your home planet is critical to your relationship with your physical body. Unknown to you, because there's no point teaching you this, no point bringing this back into your consciousness if you were not able to use it. As long as the magnetic pole of your planet was broken, it was impossible for you to draw that magnetic current up from your earth into your spine to stabilize, balance, and strengthen your physical bodies. Now, with all that is changed, being changed, you once again can receive that magnetic current. As explained, there's 10 billion of you. And therefore, inside the earth, there is stored 10 billion spheres of golden violet magnetic light. Now, these spheres are not oblong, they're more circular. And they have a hole in the middle, so they can come up and around your body. They are shaped like a donut. You understand? Now, they've always been there, but unavailable to you because there was not enough magnetic current. This has created so much instability on your planet, and although there are serious harm that people and industry is causing into your atmosphere, I agree with Mother Mary, who said to you yesterday that global warming, yes, it is a concern, be responsible, but as far as the Ascended Masters are concerned, it is the chance of nuclear weapons being used again, and it is securing the magnetic pole of your planet. That is the two most critical things that your world leaders ought to be focused upon. But they're not. So the ascended hierarchy of your system of worlds, including Venus, if we cannot make contact with your government leaders, then our only means is to make contact with those blessed life streams who are awakening up, who are choosing spiritual paths to develop themselves, and who are making contact with your ascended cousins who live upstairs. And since all of this began, and it began in the late 1800s, it began through the precious life streams such as Alice Bailey and more. And then the great messengers of the Saint Germain Foundation, opening the way for the Ascended Masters to make contact with those who would listen. And now, more than 100 years has passed. And so now the security of your planet is at hand. The magnetic current, since Polaris's discourse yesterday, the magnetic pole is not completely healed, but there are great God elemental beings that your beloved Venus, planet Venus, has borrowed to your planet. And they are up there at the magnetic pole. And they are holding that stable and open to receive an uninterrupted flow of the great magnetic current. I remind you, precious hearts, this comes from the Polaris sun. And there is a difference between the power of magnetism that you as an individual use, even in the fallen state. Where you place your attention, your feeling, you have magnetism in your feeling side of life. So you are more careful where you place your attention. But let us be perfectly clear. When I talk about the magnetism of the Polaris sun, when I speak of the magnetic currents that every planet must have to be stable, balanced, and strengthened, I am speaking of divine magnetism. Now, when we use the word divine, it is so that you understand that any power that comes from on high, if it has been qualified with being either cosmic or divine, it means that those powers will never take on the duality of human consciousness. Human consciousness and its duality cannot touch, smear, or discolor those qualities. Powers. When we use the term cosmic, we are referring to powers of light. When we use the term divine, we are referring to powers of love. So divine magnetism refers to divine love. So that means it's not love that can be infected with human emotions as it is in your world. It's a love that cannot be misqualified. It is a constant state of perfection because it is divine. Every planet needs it. And when every planet has the magnetic current and is so strengthened and stable and balanced, then the very life of the planet can evolve along with the evolving species who are living on the planet. That is the divine plan. As I stated, there are 10 billion magnetic spheres that are composed of golden violet light that is stored in the planet for each of you. All you have to do is call forth your own personal magnetic sphere to come up from the earth and through yourself. The idea is that you would sit for 90 seconds. When you call the sphere, as we're going to do in a moment, now as he said yesterday, it doesn't matter if you're in a 100-story skyscraper. It makes no difference. So don't let your intellect get crazy on you here. When you call forth your own personal magnetic sphere from the earth, it will rise up and it will come up around you slowly, elevating up. It will take about 30 seconds to elevate up over you, and it will continue going up your golden column of light like you see in the chart. It will continue going up to the base of the I Am Presence, the higher self that's shown in the chart, in the upper portion of the chart. It will go up into the causal body, and then that divine magnetism sphere will draw the great electronic energy, some of the great electronic energy of your I Am Presence God Self, back down. Now on the way up, as that sphere, as it comes up and it's approaching your back, as it's coming up the back, that magnetic sphere is releasing divine magnetic currents from the earth right into your spine, strengthening your spine. Once the sphere reaches your higher self presence above you, it draws the great light of your presence down, and as the sphere is descending, as it's passing over your spine, it releases that charge of light, making active the magnetism, the magnetic current, which was sent into your spine on the way up. Do you have it? Indeed. So, our beloved artist that brings forth all the beautiful images and the sacred geometries will soon bring forth an image so that you have an eye picture of this, that you can visualize. So, beloved hearts, this takes 90 seconds. And you can do this inwardly or speak it out. Just follow me, whatever, trust your own inner presence. I now call forth from the earth my own personal magnetic sphere that carries the divine magnetism of the planet. I call forth that magnetic sphere to now ascend up and around me, and as it slowly comes up, rising up, and as it passes over my spine, is releasing a charge of magnetic current into my spine. Breathe deeply. Remember, this is a golden violet sphere. It is continuing to go up above your head. It is going into the energy of your higher self. And from there, the magnetic current draws light from your I Am Presence God Self, and it is descending back down, slowly, slowly, coming down over your body, descending, and as it is passing by your spine, it is releasing a charge of light from your God Self to make into your spine, making active the magnetic current from the earth. And see the sphere descending down your knees, your feet, and back into the earth. And send a blessing of love and gratitude to the great magnetic current that is being restored in your planet and being made available to each of you. May you, within 30 days, although it has taken me almost an hour to explain this to you, the exercise is very simple and only takes 90 seconds of your time. Well, let's say 2 minutes, because you've got to prepare yourself. The idea here is that if you do this every morning, start your morning with this, or right after your morning breakfast before you go out into your day. The promise the Mighty Polaris made to you yesterday, that if you do this, you do it right, you accept the reality more and more, your faith is charged to take joy that there are powers that seem invisible to your sight. One day your sight will be so raised and you will see all these magnificent powers. Until that time, enjoy charging your faith with a love of those greater powers that are presently seemingly invisible to you. Do you understand? And as the Mighty Polaris said yesterday, he just would not understand how if you did this for 30 days, you will notice a whole new equilibrium, balance, stability, and strength within your physical body that will increase your body's abilities, mobility, agility, and more. So do look forward. But this is one of those things. You got to do it every day. And surely it is one of the most simplest tasks that have ever been asked of you. It will make you more conscious of the powers of divine magnetism. You know, beloved hearts, that I always greet you from my home star, which is the same star that all of you came from. It is the great central sun. And the great central sun has the perfect polarity of the light or the electronic presence of the Father consciousness, along with the polarity of the love, the heart of the Mother's divine magnetism. I project into your hearts now, from my own unfed flame, may you inwardly ask your own heart flame to open and receive. As Mother Akasha projects into your own heart my great central sun power of divine consciousness, divine magnetism. That will work to magnetize to you everything that your greater life wishes to bring forth for your life in this world. I thank you. And now, beloved hearts, it brings great joy to open the way for His Eminence, the Lord Buddha, to transmit His love to each of you. By now, most of you are aware that on the 28th of December, the Buddha will be elected as the Ascended Master-elect for 2020. And this means that he will be seeking to have audience with you regularly and to offer his blessings into your life. It is best you understand that we don't think or refer to the Buddha as the Ascended Master, Lord Buddha. He is the Ascended Buddha heart and represents the galaxy. He is, as Jesus Christ represents the Ascended Christ mind. Lord Buddha represents the Ascended Emerald heart. These are two of the three parts of your future Messiah consciousness. The Christ mind, the Buddha heart, and the rose soul, which is your destiny to access and embody in the future. The Christ mind, the Buddha heart, and the rose soul. It is these three mighty activities that when they fully come together in full wonderful expression, in you, through you, and as you, this is the fulfillment of what is found in that term, the Messiah consciousness. You discovered with the Lord Buddha's recent presence with you and his recent address, you have discovered that the Lord Buddha has a wonderful sense of humor. And he uses this humor and finds it very disarming to those who might seek to oppose him. Nothing like a wonderful smile and a hearty laugh, as the Buddha says, to begin any negotiation. Might your own heart's flame welcome His Eminence, the Lord Buddha. And I am confident that he and your messenger will work together to make his transmissions as smooth as possible. I thank you, beloved hearts.